Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today I've got a battle for you on fault line, and this is a little bit about how my team is playing and how the enemy team is playing. So this is going to be a little bit more of a tactical one than just a, hey look, there's something funny happened, and we're going to be looking around. So fault line, you may be aware, is not necessarily my favorite map because it has a lot of islands, which makes it really difficult to support your team. And without giving away too much, our team is going to play defense, and the enemy team is going to play relatively aggressively, but is running into the problem of not really being able to support each other. You'll see what I mean once we get there. Anyway, we are up against North Carolina, Black Bismarck, Roma, Gascogne, Asashio, and Double Benson. I'm in my Odin. There is an Atlantico on our side. I'm just mentioning that for completeness sake. And it is technically a tier 9 game, because there is an Udaloy on our side, but that's it. That's the only tier 9 in the whole battle. So for all intents and purposes, it's a flat out tier 8, and it's base capture in fault line. Let's go. So how do you play defensively on this? Well, you see all these islands in the middle. The problem is that once you're committed to one of the flanks, it's relatively difficult to support the other flank. Even if you have the range, there's usually an island in the way. We do have a fair amount of battleships, and there is a Maya on our side as a cruiser, but 3 destroyers on the enemy team, which means I am getting ready as playing, if necessary, playing cruiser, which is something that the Odin is perfectly capable of, because she is relatively small, quite maneuverable for a battle cruiser, and has, as a German ship, a relatively frightening array of secondaries. Plus, she's got torpedoes, and sonar. So I'm relatively comfortable playing that role if necessary, but I'm just going to position myself at this rock here and see what's going to happen. Now the big problem that you have as a defensive team is you don't know, you have to find out where the enemy is, and if they're pushing hard on one flank, then you have to react, which if you're out of position is very, very difficult. So uncharacteristically, both of our destroyers are not going the long way around, but are actually keeping an eye on the center. One of the destroyers on our right flank is scouting. The Udaloy is lurking, and we are starting to see some things. So we know that one of their Bensons is over there. There's also a battleship, and that's the Roma. So that's our first target. Precise aim up and shots out. And there's another battleship. The more interesting part is where are the other destroyers, because there are 3 of them. So I don't want to rush forward, but our team is pretty much in a defensive battle line anchored around the leftmost and rightmost islands. The enemy team, Roma, is pretty much stationary at that point, and Gascogne, North Carolina, probably on long-range duty. Not going to do an awful lot against the Roma at this range, and I'm starting to attract some attention. But one thing I'm noticing is that that all 4 of their battleships are pushing left flank, and there are some torpedoes. So one of the destroyers is there as well. There's a very suspicious smoke screen over there, and yeah, there's the Asashio. So right here, this is where I realized that they're pushing hard left flank. And one of our battleships is already disengaging. Udaloy is lurking, but is busy otherwise. Yeah, Udaloy is busy otherwise, so the North Carolina is alone. There's a Black Bismarck, and there is the Asashio coming down. I need to help out here. First things first, that Asashio needs to die. So he is focused on the North Carolina. Now, I'm not super afraid of going toe-to-toe with an Asashio, but at this range is quite dangerous. So sonar up. He is firmly focused on the North Carolina, secondary overload up, torpedoes out, and I'm getting ready to disengage if I need to, but with the secondary overload out, he's not paying any attention. Yes, so he's basically trading the North Carolina for himself, which is not a bad trade, because that means the flank's now open for the Black Bismarck. So that guy can now push through, and it's a points advantageous trade for the enemy team. So they are now 20 points ahead because they have killed a battleship lost for a destroyer. So that Black Bismarck is a problem. But look at how my team is reacting. We're still anchored at the same island on the right flank, but the team is now reacting to the threat on the left flank. So that Bismarck's coming under fire. He's burning. That's probably the Maya's work. And my torpedoes are off cooldown. And he might have forgotten that I do have those, but there are some Maya torpedoes, I believe, coming in. My torpedoes as well, in black or not. That Bismarck's going down because he really hasn't been paying attention to his environment and been too focused on things. So I'm just going to take this one out. There he goes. And we're positioned in a perfect line between where the destroyer is anchored on the right flank, and the team has completely ground down that push on the left flank here. We've sunk the Asashio, we've sunk the Black Bismarck, and one of the others. Now the threat, these two battleships are no longer a threat. The threat is now on the right flank because there are two destroyers left and they might go for the Cup. So the whole team swings around. There's Maya with me here. And the battleships and the Udaloy as well are swinging around. And yes, the lone destroyer on our side holding right flank down is doing amazing work there, because that has prevented the other two ships from being able to get through there, presumably. So I have no more work to do on this flank, so I'm going to relocate and get over to the other flank. Fortunately, the Odin is a relatively quick ship. And we still have our cruiser as well. So we're 2 kills up now from that failed push. And that push wasn't a bad push. That wasn't that. That was not necessarily terribly executed. I mean, yes, the Asashio was a bit questionable, but the reaction of my team is what sort of has made it here. And the Gascogne is on low hit points. Maya is on full health. Okay, Maya is not going after the destroyers, but is going now to try and farm the battleships. That's okay, because we have the Udaloy, our destroyer, and one of the battleships is reacting as well. Plus, I'm just taking some opportunity shots at that low health Gascogne over there. But what I'm really after are the 2 destroyers on the right flank, which are still not able to get through, because that destroyer on our side is keeping things down. So now the team again reacts, and now we're sort of splitting up. Two ships are pushing that flank, going after the low health Gascogne, and that Benson on our side sort of has held these guys down. But he's now obviously in trouble, because he's up against 2 Bensons, which is not an easy prospect to make. So I'm going down to help out, and so is the Udaloy, and so is the battleship on our side here. Benson has run into an island, so that has cost him a little bit. Now he could push for the Cup, but then he would be intercepted by the Udaloy. There comes the other Benson, so that thing is now a higher threat. Udaloy can take care of that low health Benson if he comes through. My sonar's up just in case there are any torpedoes in the water. And I've got the IG loaded, plus but the real work is being done by the secondaries here. And we have lost our Benson, but he's definitely done what he needed to do. And like predicted, Udaloy has taken out a low health Benson over there, so now it's just this guy left. And I believe it was just Roma over there. And look at the amount of firepower that comes out of those secondaries. That's the remaining smoke from that Benson. There's nothing left in there, so now it's just a matter of turning the bows into that angry smoke screen. But yeah, there's nothing Benson is going to be able to do anymore. And that is what we would say game. So on maps like this that are punishing bad positioning and punishing teams that are not playing cohesively, you've seen the enemy team has tried to make a push, but the push on the right flank, where they had the opening, hasn't been successful. The push on the left flank has been defeated, and then the team has moved as one to go back and guard the capture circle. That's what I would call a successful defensive play on a map where this sort of thing is really, really difficult, because it's so easy to get behind an island and take yourself sort of out of the battle. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.